Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Elizabeth Stites. I work for the Feinstein International Center at Tufts University in Boston, Massachusetts. And most of my work is on livelihoods, livelihoods change, livelihoods in marginalized conflict crisis areas. The idea for this summer school really came out of a variety of sources, including other successful summer school models. And one of the main goals is to focus on the next generation of up-and-coming people working in fields related to pastoralism, pastoral livelihoods, drylands, natural resource management, plant and soil sciences in the drylands, etc. Because it is this group of people who will become the new policymakers and programmers in the next decade or so. So the summer school is really based on a model of both delivery and participation. So we have designed a series of lectures from different experts in their respective fields, as well as practitioners working on these issues. But we really want the participants at the summer school to be actively engaged, trying out what they've learned, learning from each other, networking, etc. So right now, for instance, they're out doing a morning exercise where they're working in local communities, doing gathering data through focus group exercises to see how what they've learned affects that process and what they take away from that process with their new knowledge. So, I think first of all, it's important that we remember that the drylands across East Africa, the Greater Horn, the extended Sudan of Sahel are extremely varied, and that what we see here might not be the same in the next county or country or region over. However, there are some common themes of constraints and challenges in these areas. One of the biggest ones has to do with policies by national, international, and more local actors that do not seek to actively support pastoral livelihoods. A lot of this is based on misinformation, outdated information, and a history of marginalization that somehow assumes that mobility and pastoral practice of mobility is somewhat backwards, and that people should just settle down and modernize. When in reality, we know that hundreds and hundreds of years of living in arid and semi-arid environments led people to develop the most appropriate livelihoods for these areas, which of course involves strategic mobility to access resources. When pastoralists are not able to engage in strategic mobility to access resources, their entire livelihoods are constrained. Similarly, we have increased privatization of resources by different groups, some of whom are pastoralists, some of whom are not. Population growth, encouragement of pastoralists to quote unquote settle down and farm in areas that are highly vulnerable to erratic climates, whereby rain-fed farming is almost never successful. We also see, of course, other challenges such as conflict between groups, internal conflict within groups, increased stress due to climate change. Pastoralists are very good at coping with one season of drought. This is built into their livelihood model. When we have droughts that are protracted over multiple seasons or compounded by other issues such as conflict, such as policies that don't allow for mobility, we see the effects of these climate issues much more severely affecting pastoral lives and livelihoods.
Yeah.
In terms of policy processes that could better address this, I think working on cross-border movement regimes, promoting better understanding of national, regional, and local policymakers and actors about the benefits of pastoralism, helping to change the narrative, working on external support that supports livelihoods as opposed to just human lives. These are all ways in which we can continue to support the existing systems of pastoralism. Pastoralism has a very strong internal network and social support system. If we work to support that system, we can help pastoralists rebuild their resilience. Well, I think one of the main ways is to help this group of younger academics and soon-to-be professionals understand the new narrative and understand the ways in which evidence and learning and advocacy can push for policy change and policy improvement. We did a lot of work on that yesterday, thinking directly about policy processes. Policy processes can't be changed through one pressure point or one direction, but by working together with networks, with other actors, we can start to build positive directions towards more effective policy. The more people of this generation that we train, these are the leaders and the policymakers and the programmers of tomorrow. So by building this network and training more and more people, ideally repeating this year after year with a new crop of people from the region, we're going to help spread a more positive, accurate narrative about pastoralism, recognizing its strengths and weaknesses, and then figuring out how national and international policy and stakeholders can help support these systems. Similarly, I think colleagues of mine did a very successful course in Ethiopia for years, targeted at higher level policymakers, where they really sought to teach these individuals about the benefits of pastoralism and about the new narrative. And that was very successful in trying to change some of the top level thinking on the values of pastoralism. So I think also we might want to think about running such a course at different levels for different actors with a slightly different message.